Start before you're ready. Don't wait to know everything before taking that first action. And don't wait to be perfect to start. There are some things that, depending on your goal, you can learn before starting, but there are some things that you have no choice but to start in order to discover. For example, if you are somebody who wants to run, you want to run once a week, there are absolutely things that you can learn prior to your first run. There are some tips and tricks that you can learn online and that are very important to know before you run. But there are other things that you will only discover as you are running. So you have no choice but to start in order to get the rest of that information. So if you wait to know everything before starting to run, you're never going to be able to start running. And as it pertains to running, there are some things that, if we take for example, you're never going to know how it feels for you specifically in your body to run before you are running. And there are some tips and tricks that you will learn online that are general to the public, but there are some other tips that specifically to you they might work and others might don't. So you will really learn the specifics as you are running. And also uniquely to you, depending on what your goals are for running, you will only be able to figure out the what routes you will want to do and what speed variations you will want to do after you go on your first run and maybe your second run, and you figure it out then, and you see how it feels in your body, and you build this running plan to gradually get to the bigger goal that you set for yourself. So it's really important to be aware of that. Don't wait to know all of that information before going on your first run, because your first run is required to unlock that information. And I'm using running as an example, but it can really apply to any other goal. You can't expect yourself to know every detail of it before you take that first action. And along with not waiting to be perfect before starting, don't wait to be perfect before considering that you are succeeding. On day one that you take that first action, you can consider that you are succeeding because you are showing up to that goal. And what that also is doing is it is putting yourself in this mindset of, I am achieving that goal. Instead of having that goal far away in your head, and instead of having it something that you are chasing and eventually you will get there, you are considering that you already have it. You're already doing it. On that first day that you are going to run, you can already say that, yes, I am somebody who runs. I'm somebody who runs once a week. And it's really putting yourself in this mindset of somebody who has that habit already installed in their schedule. And the impact that has is that it is creating this really solid base on which you will be able to take action. And once you wake up in the morning, you will already consider that it's just part of your routine, it's part of your life that you take the time once a week to go on your run. So it really puts yourself in these circumstances mentally to take the proper action to contribute to that goal. And the mindset is so important in order to really take action. And in that same way, at some point, you need to decide that you are good enough for you to consider yourself a success. You need to decide that the efforts that you are putting in are good enough to be considered successful. You need to decide that the efforts that you put in your goal are valid, and they are valid enough to say that you are succeeding. And it can also be very important to reframe and to determine what success means to you. Are you putting success on a pedestal, and are you putting making your success dependent on things that you cannot control? If I change my example to making videos online, are you waiting to consider yourself a success until you get X amount of views or X amount of subscribers? Or are you putting success, are you considering your success on whether or not you show up regularly to making your videos? Because you cannot control how your videos are going to be perceived, and how they're going to be received by the world, and how much reach they're going to get, unless you really fall into the rabbit hole of trying to understand the YouTube's algorithm, and trying to get your video out there and promoting and getting all of that work. And it's still a very valid avenue to go down on, but when you really think about it, is that why you want to make videos on YouTube? It's really, do you want to make videos so that you can study the algorithm and trying to chase those views and those likes and that reach? Or are you making videos because you have something to say, or you have something to show, and you're making it by pure interest? So reframe what success means to you, and be very aware of what you make it dependent on. If to you succeeding at making videos is you showing up consistently once a week, for example, then you can already consider yourself succeeding. And like I said, then that puts you in this mindset of, I'm already succeeding, and the efforts that I'm putting in are good enough, whether my videos get a lot of views or not. And no matter how long it takes for my channel to grow to get to this bigger goal that I have in mind, even though I'm not there yet, I know that I'm already succeeding just by showing up regularly to my videos, and just by letting myself be inspired by what I want to show or what I want to talk about. So once again, this mindset is so important, and you have to decide that you are good enough, and that what you put out there is good enough to be considered a success, and to be considered valid enough for you. If you keep waiting for something that you cannot control to validate your success, most likely you're gonna get discouraged very easily. So that's why you need to build this strong foundation within yourself, and you need to validate yourself. You need to decide that you are good enough. You need to decide that the efforts that you put in are good enough. And you need to do that knowing that you don't know everything. Knowing that you don't know all the answers and all the little details that will determine the way that you will take action. So just start before you have all of the answers, before you know how you're going to want to organize your time and how exactly you're going to want to take action. Just start and figure it out along the way. Start before you're ready, and decide that you are good enough to start, and just figure it out in the moment. So just start.